when they play the top teams, they make crucial mistakes in game. I have maybe 10 YouTube videos literally just talking about the mistakes that they make in game, and they make crucial ones. And their ability to bounce back after said mistake is the worst of the super teams. They make a mistake or a team starts to gain a big lead on them and they get steamrolled. It's almost better if the game is gritty back and like if you watch their games, if it's gritty back and forth, it's just pandemonium. Sometimes they play way better as long as they're close. I don't know why they make those crazy mistakes towards the end of games as well. It happens towards the end way more often. I don't know if it's a communication thing, but yeah, I mean, it's simply just mistakes. And for them, it's like easily identifiable mistakes. You watch some of these other teams, you watch Empire lose games and it's like, what happened here? And you have to go back, watch three times. Like what? When you watch OpTic, it's like, wow, that was it, right? And I can figure it out within an instant every time I watch their games. Partly why I do the YouTube videos on them all the time, because it's so easy to figure out and it provides for good content. So I think that with them, they just have to get over the mental block towards the latter part of these games, and especially when they're playing the top team, to try to just be perfect in game in your decision making. If you get outgunned or pummeled in a situation when the team's coming straight in, that's fine, but don't challenge before or not rotate. Like when we see Dashy jumping over trying to chow P2 on Apocalypse to lose that game against FaZe, just like, why? Like, play the consistent way. If it works out, it works out, and they'll have better results. So for me, OpTic Gaming, simply just easy mistakes they're making.
Do you think they possess that potential at least? Because
yeah, for sure.
So within the side, you do believe that if they work on those mistakes that you've highlighted yourself, then they can contest a team like FaZe?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that they can easily be one of the best teams, if not the best team in the game. It really, like I said it before, I think they need to bring in a couple more people, maybe a data guy, another coach, something like that, to help them out. Because yes, they have these moments, like we saw them versus Toronto, incredible series that they played. Very end of S&D, situational play. They make the wrong call. Scump pushes up to Laundry, and then he backs off to go plant. Instead of Dashy or Formal taking over his position, they sit back, they get trapped, and they lose a crucial round 11 where they would have went further in the tournament, and who knows what happens from there. They are based way too heavily on momentum. And I know there's probably gonna be some OpTic fans listening to this and saying, I hate Nameless, but when OpTic plays well, I show them love. I predicted them to win, or I predicted them to go the distance versus FaZe in the last match. I said they could potentially win it because they were looking better. But what happened? They were looking better. They play FaZe and then they fold in the middle of all three maps and they get pummeled. And yeah, they just need to stop folding. It just feels like they're mentally soft in these games.
One of the things that you brought up in there actually that was super interesting was this idea around a wider coaching team, because obviously Atlanta FaZe brought in their S&D coach in 2-pack, and
they have the biggest coaching staff.
Yeah, and they as you said, they have that big coaching staff. So is this something that you advocate across like the whole CDL? This is something that teams should invest in rather than big buyouts and transfers and all that stuff?
Absolutely. Especially when I recommend all teams do that. And I understand there's some teams financially in different situations than others, but when you have a team of a highly talented players and you're really invested into your squad, when you have that squad, you should be doing whatever it takes to get them to that next level. So for a team like OpTic Chicago, obviously big name players, super talented, they're highly invested in winning right now. Give them the staff that they need right now to win. So I think that is just, it can't hurt. Right? Like, it can't hurt. Your team's struggling. It can't hurt. So why not? You look at another team, maybe it's like a LAG or Paris, and it's like they're not in the position where they're going to win a championship. So maybe I don't advocate as much for bringing in more staff, just because they're going to have to make moves in the off season and spend more money, right, to get other players. But for a team like OpTic Chicago, you could retain this team. So bring in that staff and continuously develop them, because on one hand, it's going to be less stressful for players like Scump and Formal. You're going to get more years out of them, which in turn will bring more dollars because they're going to keep winning and they have big followings. And the other side of that is they're going to get better, right? Like the players, Envoy, Dashy, it's just less stress. They're going to get better. You're going to develop those guys. They're going to be prepared to take over the team when eventually those players do retire. So it just makes more sense. And there's people out there that can go get to improve that right now.